Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Essentra Health podcast series. I'm your host, Yeji Lee. In this series, we focus on practical, accessible tools to support your well being, both at work and at home. Today, we're talking about something that touches every part of our health, our performance at work, and even our relationships, and that's sleep. Sleep is often the first thing that we sacrifice when life gets a little busy. And I think for those of us working in maybe more high stress in work environments, those challenges can be even bigger. So, changes in work, long work hours, high stress incidents, and just that overall pressure of needing to um, excel in the work that you're doing can really throw your sleep schedule off. And it's easy to feel like you can push through on just a little bit of sleep or reduced sleep. But the truth is, your effectiveness and your overall health really depends on getting that restorative rest. We might find ourselves staying up a little bit later just to finish that one report or debrief after a tough call. We may be checking our emails or messages during what should be downtime. And we lie awake replaying events from work or counting down all of the to-do things that we need to be doing the next week or the month ahead. And before we know it, we're running on 5 or 6 hours of sleep, telling ourselves, oh, we'll catch up on sleep later. But sleep is not optional. It's a biological necessity. So, let's start with why sleep matters so much. Uh, you know, Sleep is when your brain and your body resets. So it's when our memories are consolidated. It's when our stress hormones regulate and our nervous system recalibrates. From a workplace perspective, sleep plays a huge role in cognitive performance. So things like focus, attention to detail, problem solving, and reaction time, those things all decline when we're sleep deprived. And so it's not just about, thinking clearly, but sleep also affects emotional regulation. When you're well rested, you find yourself to be more patient, you're more deliberate, and you're less reactive, not only with the public, but with your partners and your family at home. So, I've seen this personally as a mom balancing work and family. There are some nights where I stay up late after, you know, my daughter has gone to bed, and sometimes I'm finishing work. Sometimes I'm scrolling through my phone just to have a quiet moment to myself. But, the next day I find myself running on fumes. I remember one morning, my daughter was taking her time getting ready, and I felt just like this wave of impatience rise that didn't really match the situation. It wasn't about my daughter. It was really just about feeling exhausted. I was exhausted. And that moment really made me realize that lack of sleep affects how you show up in every role that you hold at work and at home. It's not just about rest. Sleep is about how you show up fully. It's about how you make decisions and how you manage stress. Now, sleep is also deeply tied to physical health, which I'm sure that you all know. It supports your immune function. It regulates hormones like cortisol, the stress hormone, and it helps protect against long-term conditions like heart disease, high blood pressure, and diabetes. And for those in high stress, high risk jobs, maintaining physical health is really critical in handling the demands of that job. So now let's move on to the second question, which is what happens when our sleep is chronically disrupted? So the occasional short night, they happen. It's normal, it's a part of life. But When poor sleep becomes the pattern, the effects of that compound. Sleep deprivation and burnout, they feed each other. When you're exhausted, your ability to cope with stress decreases. Simple tasks might take longer. Your patience runs thin, and that ongoing strain on your body can really accelerate emotional exhaustion. Fatigue can slow reaction times. It can affect judgment in critical incidents. And, when you're dealing with maybe like a traumatic event or a high stress situation, it can make de escalation more difficult as well. So even, routine interactions can feel overwhelming and when you're already running on low sleep. There's also something called presenteeism, which is, when you're technically working, but you're not really functioning at full capacity. Chronic fatigue contributes significantly to that. Mistakes increase, your situational awareness decreases, and your ability to make smart decisions suffer. And for those of us in high stress jobs, like for those for people working in, let's say, law enforcement, stressful events and exposure to trauma can really make it harder to sleep. Nightmares, flashbacks, or racing thoughts can keep you awake, which in turn affects your resilience and your long-term mental health. And over time, anxiety, depression, and even post-traumatic stress symptoms can start to develop or worsen. And from an organizational perspective, poor sleep contributes to higher absenteeism, reduced engagement, and increased risk of on-the-job incidents. It affects not only the individual, but the effectiveness of the team. So, what practical steps can you take and how can your EAP support you? First, let's start with boundaries at work. Now, I know that every work situation is different. However, if possible, creating a consistent end to your workday or your shift can be very helpful. Little things like physically closing your laptop or turning your computer off, putting your phone away. If you are on a rotating schedule, try to keep as consistent of a sleep schedule as possible, even on your off days. That can really help your body to adapt to maintaining some sort of a sleep schedule. Second, establishing a good wind down routine. So, that ties into self-care, but it can be things like dimming the lights when you're ready to start winding down for the night, limiting screen time, or doing something calming. It can be reading, stretching, practicing slow breathing. And another thing that I want to make note of is limiting caffeine later in the day. I know this doesn't affect everybody, but avoiding late night shifts, late night snacks, or caffeine that can spike blood sugar. I think those can help in helping you to wind down for the night. So small adjustments can make a big difference over time. And here's where your employee assistance program can be helpful. EAP provides confidential counseling and support, whether that's stress management, trauma support, work-life balance, health coaching, or guidance on navigating personal stressors that may disrupt sleep. I think seeking support early protects your personal health. It helps protect your personal professional performance and your ability to keep yourself safe and efficient. So, in conclusion, sleep is not lost time. It's restoration gained. Your capacity to think clearly, to make safe decisions, respond calmly in critical situations, and show up fully for your family, it all depends on it. And as we close today, I want to encourage you to reflect on one small adjustment you can make, maybe this week or today. Maybe it's a consistent shutdown ritual after your work day, putting your phone in another room, or, just another aspect of a self-care routine that you can implement for yourself just to help you prepare for a better night's sleep. And with that, thank you so much for joining me today on behalf of everyone here at Essentra Health. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.